Our basketball has been on the rise. In terms of our players, I tell you, in coaching also, in officiating, because we've had new referees that have become FIBA graded. We have players that have gotten better, and the coaches are becoming more enlightened. So I think we have a very good chance of doing well in the All-African Games. And don't forget, we've won the All-African Games before, our female. We've always been on the medal table. So we're not new. It's like a normal terrain for us. So I think we'll do well. And the coaches that are that are going to come around for the All-African Games understand African basketball. So it's going to be easy for us, I think.
I think we will. We have a good technical crew, and also the players that will be taken for this tournament have been tried and tested. I think with good friendly matches, so that the technical problems will be addressed and sorted out. I think we'll do well. We'll do well. And also, you know, it's been a while that we've won something on that level. So the desire there, the hunger is there. And also the under-16 girls have gone out of the have gone into the continent and have done very well. I think that is an impetus to the other players, especially the senior team now, to show, yes, how it is done. And I think we will do well. I hope we do well.
Definitely, most definitely. We're going to win in Congo. We did it 4 years ago, so I think it's another opportunity to go there and defend the title.
Opportunity to defend the title, definitely.
So that's much optimism.
I think it was actually part of the players who were supposed to have been part of the Afro Basketball Championship, and of course they didn't get the visa. We'll talk papers. That was all he told me. I'll play back the interview tomorrow. I promise you. I'll play
Till
it back
tomorrow. We'll sort that out.
You'll get to hear from him. Okay, papers. We're going for the papers right now. And Akintunde Bada Johnson is in the house. Good morning.
Akintunde Johnson is
okay, Bada. Why use three names? Okay, Akintunde Johnson.
I love Bada.
Okay, I love Akintunde Johnson.
So I prefer the Johnson.
Great to have you.
Today. I'm not going anywhere.
Really?
Good to have you on the show.
Yeah, it feels great to be here.
Quickly, before we start the papers, your thoughts on the Afro Basketball Championship?
Oh, well, in terms of whether or not the home-based players should be involved and in what numbers, I think that, so long the end goal is actually to expose them, I think it isn't bad to get as many as them involved as we can, because staying in camp with these foreign-based professionals has its role. They can share experiences, they can inspire them, they can monitor them from close quarters, and use that as a leverage, as a platform to springboard their own careers. So even though they don't get to play the games ultimately, staying with them would have rubbed off on them positively, and they can kick on from there for those who can apply themselves. So I think that we can get as many of the home-based players as we can involved, and those who have the quality to play, obviously, should be given the chance to play.
All right, okay. All right, well said, well said. Let's start with the papers right now.
Complete Sports, right?
Complete Sports, okay.
Let's see, quite a number of stories, but I think we should just stay with the Super Eagles list. And remember, the hashtag to join the discussion is Super Eagles list. Sunday Oliseh has been speaking lately. He said why I dropped Ighalo.
Yeah.
I think there's any excuse for that?
Well, he said that he's picked 2 players per position. And for the striking position, he's picked the German-based Uja, Uja, and one other player I can't remember now. So there was no point bringing a third, man who would only fly down to Nigeria and sit on the bench, which is a reasonable, let me say, reason. I didn't want to say excuse.
Reasonable reason.
From that standpoint, I could understand it, because before I was taken aback as well. I felt per time we expect that the most informed Nigerian footballers will get invited for matches.
Yeah,
and if that's the basis for invitation, Odion Ighalo has got to be on the list.
Sure.
Because just last weekend we saw him scoring against Everton in the very first game. The weekend after, he was his usual boisterous self, asking all the right questions against West Brom. He looks in fine fettle, looks in fine form. And I look around and I don't see many Nigerians who are in better form to mean that he'll be excluded from the team. But if he's saying that he only invited 2, just so he can have a look at them. Uja hasn't exactly had a decent, opportunity to show what he can do. We saw him in preseason. Scored 2 goals against West Ham. He's been scoring goals in Germany. So I think we should give him a chance to prove himself. So he probably doesn't want to add the pressure of having an Igalo in camp and Uja, needing and Emenike was the name I was looking for. There's Emenike, there's Uja, filling one position. So he doesn't need a third person who would fly down taxpayers' money and doesn't get to play.
Okay. It says Olise picks 5 home-based players for the game. That's also on Complete Sports. I told you about picking just 5 home-based players. How many did he invite to camp?
Well, I mean, his excuse, yesterday sounded frustrated for the first time. No, for the very first time. I listened to Olise sounding frustrated yesterday, talking about the refusal of local teams to release their best players to come to camp. He said, we've invited this much home-based players, but we can't even find them. And you can understand why, because it's the business end of the season in the MPFL. So the best of the players that he's invited from these clubs are needed by their club sides. So I imagine he has an eye on Chan, which is much later down the line. So he wants to have a home-based team, which obviously would be more than 11 players. So from that 11 or thereabout or 20, he picks 5 who are the best, who can play alongside the foreign-based players for the game against Tanzania. But he doesn't even have that luxury right now. His plan can't be executed because the local teams are holding on tightly to their best players.
That's a big challenge for him. It's a big challenge for him. What do we have on Soccer Star?
Okay, Soccer Star. I think let me look for one local story. Okay, there's actually one. Okay, Ikeme and Leon Balogun relishes Eagles' call. Relish Eagles' call.
The jury is out on Leon Balogun. Personally, I've seen him play a couple of games. I haven't been totally convinced, particularly because prior to now, we had Efe Ambrose play at right back under Stephen Keshi for a long time. And I kept asking myself, are you saying that in a nation of 170 million people, you can't find a natural right back? Because Efe Ambrose is central defender. He comes here, plays at right back. The next weekend, he's playing for Celtic at centre half. And then, Leon Balogun comes in, begins to play at right back, but you don't see him, having that capacity to get up and down the right side of the field. And I still want to see him at close quarters. So I think the game against Tanzania is not such a high-risk game. Will be an opportunity to have a look at Leon Balogun again.
And again, Bada, for our coaches to do something about the right full back. May so rest in peace Adefemi Olubayo. Since he left, we brought in Chibuzo Okonkwo. He played that for a while.
I didn't think was bad.
I didn't think exactly. And then we didn't manage his talent properly. Now, no more Chibuzo Okonkwo, and we're struggling to get defenders to fill the right full back for a country as Nigeria.
It's absurd, really.
That's something for the technical crew to really, and the coaching crew, of course, to really deal with. Of course, here we have Sporting Live, still on Sunday, Olise, really, talking about he needing everyone's support for him to succeed. You talked about this frustration when you heard him yesterday, and he should be, because he knows what he's up to, or what he's up against, rather. Thank you for the correction there. So, he needs to really sit down and plan. And of course, everyone needs to support him, really.
Here's the thing. It's one thing to plan. You have your plans on paper, you have it in your head. Execution is dependent on reality, really. The reality on the ground will determine the extent to which you can execute your plans. And he's coming at a time when Nigerians want no excuses. They want results. They want a Nigerian team that plays very good, enjoyable football, plays with a discernible philosophy, and ultimately delivers results. And you're not going to do that by not having access to players when you need them. You come into camp, you have a period of maybe 2 weeks. You're expecting you spend bonding and entrenching that philosophy, with the local based team, so that when the foreign guys come in, there's a structure on ground that they're fitting into. But you don't have access to those players. What are you going to do? Even if he goes to the individual club sides to have a sit down with the coaches, they're going to tell him, Sunday Olise, I get judged ultimately by my results in local league, not by my contributions to the national team. So I'm sorry, you can't have my best players. And that's the dilemma that is God facing him.
Okay. A good one. If we can go back to Soccer Star again, I'll just go a little bit foreign now. Vanguard finalizes Pedro deal. I mean, is it a striker they really need? Can he give them 20 goals a season?
Pedro will come in and he will deliver. Trust me. He looks very suited to the English game. He's very quick. He puts himself about, high energy, you know, and he knows his way to goal. He can score goals. The frustration he's had over the years is that he's never been trusted enough by by successive Barcelona managers. And you would then imagine that United will be giving him some kind of assurances for him to be making the move, because it wouldn't make any sense if he leaves Barcelona, comes to United and starts to sit on the bench. And I saw United against Club Brugge yesterday. Wow. Depay looked the part, especially from the left side of midfield, where this guy, Pedro, likes to play, because I mean, he likes to cut in on his stronger foot and shoot. He can play on the right as well, but he's less effective there. He can play through the middle because he's pint-sized. I don't think he will succeed there playing in the Premier League, where you have big, strong, you know, defenders who stay in your face and snuff you out of the game. Reason Theo Walcott always struggles in that position, and he's not so much significantly better than, I mean, bigger rather than Theo Walcott. So there's no doubting that he can do well. It's just that the only position I see him playing for United looks like United have found a player in Depay who can play that position. There's Januzaj as well, who can also play, you know, out wide on the left. Even though, you know, he likes the managers play him on the right side of midfield, so he can also check in onto his stronger foot. So I look at Pedro. Yes, he wants to move, but if he's not seeking that assurance to get into the first team, then that move would not make sense.
Okay.
All right. I think we've talked so much about the papers.
But we'll still stay with Bada, guys, while we talk about the Federation
Cup. Quickly, Lobby Stars and, of course, Enugu Rangers. Where's your money on Bada? Let me quickly ask you that one.
Personally, I'd like for Rangers to go on and win the Federation Cup this year, because, like you rightly said at the top of the show, it's been ages since one of the biggest traditional teams in Nigerian football won anything, you know, and it's about time they broke that jinx. And maybe it's about, you know, the right season too. Recently, Arsenal broke a long, you know, standing jinx. Recently, Atletico Bilbao. This week, actually,
Bilbao.
Exactly. So
31 years.
Exactly. Maybe that's that season for Rangers to also break their jinx. But like I said, I mean, for Shooting Stars Rangers, some of us who followed Nigerian football at the height of its powers, you know, have some kind of affinity, some kind of emotional attachment to teams like that. You just want them to, you know, pick it up again and begin to do well. So my emotions are with Rangers, even though I know that they would have to play very, very well to beat Lobby.
Okay, they actually report that Tony Okpotu will not be there for Lobby Stars. He has scored 8 goals this season, but for Justin Tega, that's the man who definitely spared the attack. How will he be able to cope with it?
It's a blow. It's a blow to go into an important game like this and not have one of your most important players, especially the guy who's been delivering the goals. Games like this, chances come at their premium, and when they come, you want them taken. You want them to fall to the best players, you know, so you stand a chance to score goals. But again, I think that games like this provide, you know, the incentive, you know, for players to get motivated, for players who come in to not find motivation, hard to find, you know, to go in there and do the business. So this one would have the look of a final about it, because like you rightly said as well, Lobby Stars know how to play this particular competition. You know, so Lobby, Rangers, it'll be tight. But,
how about Nasarawa United and Aqua? Who's your money on? Aqua United.
See my face. Aqua United and Nasarawa United.
You don't have to do that.
He's threatening me right in the full glare of millions of Nigerians. Nasarawa United Aqua would be, though understated compared to the other game, would be a cracker as well. Both of them top flight teams. You'd expect that maybe Nasarawa will hold the edge, even though Aqua United started the season, a bit, shaky, but they seem to be, picking up form just at the right time, and to have earned their place amongst the last 4 means that they're good enough to be there. And so I mean both games are tight to call, but I feel that the final I want to see would be Aqua United, Rangers.
Okay. I knew I was going to do the right thing.
Come on, Austin. All right, let's move on to the. Should we talk about the Afro?
Volleyball?
Yeah, beach volleyball.
Okay, definitely. I mean, they're
okay. Well, they also have the female
for the ladies'
fixtures,
conference queens and Bayelsa Queens. They
Bayelsa
also have
Queens.
Nasarawa Masons and Sunshine Queens.
Sunshine Queens.
Surprisingly, the regular Rivers Angels, they're
not
definitely not there. And just at the weekend, Edo Queens actually ended their unbeaten run for the season. So Rivers Angels, not good timing for them at all. But looking forward to these 2 games, conference queens. I just hope they can get to the finals, especially after beating Perennial
complete the
champions.
magic.
Just
Complete the
completely
magic.
perennial
Yeah.
champions.
How about the beach
Okay, beach volleyball, of course,
volleyball?
they are off to Ghana. But before we just talk about that, we'll quickly just listen to the assistant coach talking about Francis Imodu. He was talking about their preparations coming to Lagos. That's actually helped them to prepare so well. But they're off to Ghana this morning for 8 nation tourney on beach volleyball.